I have read a lot of Nigerian literature on domestic abuse, and it got to a point where I felt like I was reading the same thing just with different names. But Born in a House of Glass is an exception. But Born in a House of Glass is an exception. But Born in a House of Glass is an exception because there's something very staggering, something very numbing about how this particular man was able to use domestic violence not just to silence people in his household, but he used religion to cover himself up so that nobody looked twice at him. Hi, I'm Rovin. Welcome to Rovin True Books, and today I'll be discussing Born in a House of Glass. Let's get into it. I had heard so many reviews about this book. I mean, so many people have been telling me, read Born in a House of Glass. Or I would see reactions of people who had read it and they were like, everybody should read this book. And I wasn't quite getting the gist. So here's the thing, I'm one of these people that I think I like to read or watch things before the hype. Yes, before the hype, because when something is hyped, I usually set very high expectations for it. So I try to get to them before the hype. But that's impossible because there are so many pieces of work that I cannot get to before the hype. I mean, who am I? So I saw so many reviews of Burning the House of Glass, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write Dundon first to send me a copy, and I did, and they sent me a copy, and I started reading it. And as soon as I started, I knew that, oh my goodness, this is going to be a very amazing read. Now, I think as a reader, there are some pointers when you start a book that shows you like you are going to be on a long and interesting ride. And as soon as I saw that sign in this book, I don't know how to explain it per se, but you know, if you watch movies a lot, there'll be some movies that once you start, you know that, oh my goodness, this is going to be a very delicious ride. I'm gonna love this. It's the same thing with books. There are some books that once you start, you're like, I'm so going to enjoy, and that's how it was with this book. And the most staggering thing about this book is not just the domestic violence. I mean, yes, domestic violence is a very pronounced evil in this book, but besides domestic violence, is something we rarely talk about in Nigeria: incest. Now, before this book, the only other Nigerian book I have read that discussed incest was Some Angels Don't Die by Eva Obi. Sorry, I think I've gotten the title wrong. This is like the first time this happened. I think I'm having a brain fog or something. But yes, so it was by Everby. And I remember wondering what I mean, it is true that incest does happen, especially in Nigeria. But having to confront it, it was like I was looking at it face to face and I began to ask myself questions. What is going to be my reaction if this is something that I have seen, if this is something that is playing out right before me? Because yes, it's in a book, but what are the chances that it will happen in real life, right? And when I read this, I was like, oh, I'm grateful I've read that book because it sort of like gave me a soft landing to this one. So, in the sense where I was a little bit shocked, because I mean, I didn't go into that book blindly, Everby's book, I didn't go into it blindly. I was reading it for a review competition, so I had to like make some research to know what it was about. And then when I eventually got a copy, I read it and I was like, oh, I mean, in the reviews I've been seeing mentions of incest and all of that. I was like, it can't be that bad, you know. And I read it, I was like, oh. But then it wasn't, I don't even know which was worse, whether it was that one or this one. I don't even know. It's just all so messed up. So messy. And the fact that this man used religion, he was able to hide under the cover of religion. So people did not even look twice at him. And it's funny because in Nigeria, many prophets they say, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. So that people would not look closely at them. And we have to realize that prophets, pastors, they're not perfect people. People who occupy positions of religious authority, they are not perfect people. And sometimes they should be called for accountability. I think there's a point where he was called to accountability, but it was already too late. So many things had already gone wrong and they could not even be corrected. Like there are some wrongs you make, there's nothing you can do to correct it. Like it has already happened, and that was the case in the story. A very important thing is that as women, we should learn to have our own voices and use it because we can see the progression of events in this book. How this woman had been silent most of her life, and it got to a point where she started using her voice. And yes, I think a reason why she was able to use her voice is because she knew to an extent that she had some support, which is why whenever I see women in relationships where they are being taken away from their friends and families, I get worried for them because in as much as you claim this man loves you a lot, sometimes what he is trying to do is separate you from your support system. So when you need them, you can't rely on them. Imagine this man starts beating you. You cannot just call your friend that you haven't spoken to in 2 years, like, hi, this man is beating. Although I watched a TikTok video where something similar happened where she was like, she told her friend not to get married to this man, and then the man went that her friend went ahead to get married to the man, and then she just got, I think she saw her friend in the market or something, and she was just so shocked and she realized what was happening and she felt so pained because she told her friend not to, but her friend did. And it's very painful because sometimes some of these patterns, as someone who's in love, you cannot see them. So it's people that are around you that can see these red flags. Very, for some reasons, red flags are more obvious to people that are not in the relationship than to people that are in the relationship. Another very important thing is that sometimes as a human being, you have to rediscover yourself when you go through certain things by yourself. As much as support is needed, there's some journeys you have to go through on your own. And I love that this babe went through her own journey on her own because imagine someone else had assisted her. I just feel like it wouldn't have been so good, it wouldn't have landed so well. But he did a lot to her self development that she was able to go through her struggles, like her deepest struggles alone. And it is not the kind of struggle that you hear about frequently. And I also think that the character development in this book is so beautiful because I was expecting something entirely different. I mean, we have read so many books where men abuse women and they go away scot free. But here, this man suffered. Like, I mean, I would have loved if he suffered longer. I mean, I'm just saying my mind. But he did suffer, and I really love that. And I love that his burial site was turned to a wasteland. I don't know, it gave me so much joy and happiness to learn that. Because every time men get away with things like this, they get away. Look at Gozier in Tomorrow I Become a Woman. Do you get it used to affect my heart that they get away. But this man, he did not get away with it. He planted evil and he reaped evil. I was so happy with that. Also, I liked how a member of the LGBTQ community, I loved how at first he didn't get as much support as he wanted, but he did, which is quite nice because I want us to realize that we are humans first before anything else. Now, except for cases of criminals like rapists and all of that, but I need us to understand that we are humans first before we are queer or anything else. So when we see people that are of the queer community, we should first remember we are humans first. And I'm saying this because in Nigeria there are many incidents of queer people being harmed because they are queer, and it's quite painful, especially if you have a loved one who is queer. This is not the only book that I have read where people are scared, like, oh my goodness, this person is queer. What will happen to this person? Can we take this person out of Nigeria? Something like that. And yes, they care about this person, but they are scared because they know the way Nigeria is. So yes, it's important that as Nigerians we identify like these people. People you should be angry at are people that abuse people, people that are rapists. Those are the people you should be angry at. Look at this man that got away with complete rape allegation with evidence. Look at him. Look at the kind of people we should throw our anger at, not people who haven't done anything to harm the society. And that's all from me for Born in the House of Glass. Bye. See you later.